There we are. I'm going to go ahead and record this session, and then I will make that available as a YouTube video so that all of your sections will have access to that on your Canvas courses. So for all the professors, after we finish, I will send you the YouTube link, and then you can just go ahead and embed that. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start then. Okay, so I am so happy, again, to be able to join all of you this way. I am Cynthia Kane. And just in case you've not had a chance to see me before in anything else, and I know this is going to be new for you all, I am your librarian liaison for the School of Library and Information Management. And I'm going to stop here right now. Can everybody continue to hear me okay? Okay, great. I see nods, so I think we're good. Okay. The reason that we're doing this in this way, it's kind of funny because I'm actually just a few blocks from the Emporia campus. So Dr. Fay, of course, you know I'm not too far from your class, but the reason that we're doing it this way is that we had 3 sections of LI801 starting on this weekend. And more importantly, you all are not going to be on the Emporia campus when you start doing your research. Even the students who are taking LI801 here in Emporia, you're going to be doing your research at home, other places. And it's easier for me to be at my house here, which is where I am, and be able to show you a little bit more specifically and realistically what it looks like when you are accessing our services and resources off campus. So I will be able to mimic and basically do everything that you would be doing, including logging in with my Hornet ID information, and then that way you can see exactly how everything will work. So I'm going to make the screen just a little bit bigger. And then in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you. So what we're going to be doing today is just walking through our services and resources that are targeted for library and information management. So by the time we finish, and I want to allow time for questions as well, you'll have an opportunity to see the databases that you will be using in library and information science to do your research most effectively. You will also have an opportunity to see what you do if you don't find an article immediately available full text in a database. Where do you go to see if it's available somewhere else? How you would do an interlibrary loan request if you need to request a copy of an article from another library. And also, very key for distance students, you can go ahead and check out books and scanned articles that we own at the Emporia campus library. Those will be delivered to you. And I will show you how to do that as well. So everything we do today, you have access to no matter where you happen to be. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And you're going to see something a little bit different. And then I'm going to click over here. There we are. And are you all now seeing our page for the Emporia State University Library's homepage? Okay. Hopefully you are seeing that, so you should be good to go. So the first thing that I want to do here is I'm going to actually click on another tab. And this tab is something that I'd like for you to be aware of. When you all get ready to take LI802, you're going to have an opportunity to choose a specific audience and create something called a research guide or a pathfinder. And some of you may be using a system called LibGuides, which Slim has access to, and we use this as well. This is an example of a research guide, and this is one that I wrote specifically for the library and information management students. So if you were to go directly to libguides.emporia.edu/slim, you will get to this guide. Everything that I cover today is actually in a lot more detail in this guide. So as we go along today, if there's anything that you have a question about or anything you're not quite sure about, go back to this guide first. And more important, when I scroll down here, this is my contact information. You can always email me at ckane1@emporia.edu. If you were to click on this email button, this would open up an email directly in your email browser, and you could contact me that way directly as well. But you can also call me at 620-341-0000. 5480. If I don't happen to be available, please leave a voicemail for me. The reason I'm emphasizing that is with all of you, since I'm your liaison, I am more than happy to help you with any type of research need that you have. So if you're getting stuck finding articles, finding other sources for a research project that you're doing for one of your SLIM classes, please email me, contact me. Or if you would want to set up one of these Zoom appointments, I'm more than happy to do that as well, because then we can share our screen back and forth, and I can kind of give you some tips on searching that sometimes are easier to see when you're sharing your screen. So please absolutely keep that in mind. So having said that, I'm going to return to the library's webpage. Now, there are lots of different ways that you can get to our library's homepage, and this is going to be our launching point for everything that we do today. And one of the easiest ways, I'm just going to retype this, is to go to library.emporia.edu. And that will redirect to our library's webpage. There we go. And if you already happen to be just at the main emporia.edu website, if you were to scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and some people do this as well, at the bottom of the screen there's a link for libraries and archives. And if you click on that link, that will also take you back to the library's website. And the last way, which I'm not going to show you but I'll tell you about, is that if you are already in Canvas, so if you're already in your Canvas course for your LI801 section, just look toward the left of the page and you will see a link that says Library and Archives. And if you click on that link, you will be prompted to open another tab in your browser, and then that will also take you back to the library's webpage. So there's always more than one way to get to this. So I know that a lot of you are currently working in libraries, public, academic, other types. And for some of you, you may be actually new to the field of librarianship. So what I want to do today is get you started actually with 3 tabs that we have here and kind of go over with you the differences among these tabs and where you would start depending on the type of information that you would be looking for. So the first tab is the Discovery Search, the second tab is Databases, and the third tab is Journals. And sometimes when people are new to research or coming back to school, you're not quite sure where to start looking for information. So I want to make some distinctions among these tabs and, again, get you more comfortable and familiar with where you would start. So in your classes, it's not going to be unusual for you to be working individually or in groups on different topics. And you may be asked by your professors to find different articles or perhaps different books or a mixture of items on that particular topic. One way of starting, and I'm actually going to show you a bad way of starting because this is a very broad way of searching. A lot of people will go ahead and start with the Discovery Search tab. And I'm going to type in a search, and I'm going to show you why sometimes this is not always an effective way of searching, but then I'm going to show you how you could narrow and focus your search a little bit more. So one of my jobs at the library, along with library instruction, is assessment. I oversee a lot of assessment projects for our library. So I might be interested in library assessment. And for the sake of argument, I don't really know where else to start, so I'm just going to start searching at this Discovery Search tab and just type in my topic of library assessment. Now, this is actually why this can be a very overwhelming search. Do you see how many results I got here? Yeah, that's not an exaggeration. It looks like it's like over 1,435,000. The reason that I got so many on that is that a lot of people do not realize, and it doesn't really say this on the screen, a discovery search is just that. A discovery search is actually a discovery layer that overlays our library catalog. And what it's actually doing right now is bringing in not only information about books or other items that are owned by the library on the Emporia campus, it's also searching the full text of many articles from a number of databases that are also in the discovery search. It's a form of federated searching. This is why sometimes it's not the greatest idea to start with the discovery search if you have a very broad topic. Sometimes it's better to identify a specific resource or a specific database. Now, having said that, I'm going to show you now how I can make the discovery search work for me a little bit more effectively. The discovery search is also our library catalog. So over here on the left side of the screen, I can do some limits that are really going to make this search a lot better for me. So in this particular instance, I want to see, first of all, what we actually own in the library on this topic of library assessment in terms of print books. And I took that search down quite a bit. And these records now that are showing up on the screen are actually print books that are owned by the library. I'm going to go back to something I said just a few seconds ago. As Emporia State University students, you have access to these print books, so don't feel as if you don't, even if you're not here physically in Kansas. You can do a request, and I'll show you how to do this later on, and you can actually request that our print books be checked out in your name and then mailed to you no matter where you happen to be living. So you can borrow these books just as if you were here on the Emporia campus. So absolutely do not rule that out. So you can see that I'm actually finding some books that are print books, and some of them are checked out. I think I probably have some of those checked out. I'm sure that I do. But if I were to go back up here, I might want to see, and we're starting to get more and more of these in the library, I want to see if we have any books that deal with library assessment that might be ebooks. And this search was probably not quite as effective, although there are some things that are coming in here. Okay, let's look at record number 3. That looks really interesting. Creating Inclusive Library Environments, a planning guide for serving patrons with disabilities. This is an ebook, and you can actually read this book online. But there's something up here that you have to do first. That's why I'm searching here at home, so that I'm actually mirroring what you would be doing at home as well. Up here at the very top on the discovery search, do you see that link that says Hello Guest? Log in for full access. We are going to need to log in, and we're going to log in with our username and then the same password that I would use to access my email or anything else. And the reason I must do this is that since I am off campus, I need to be logged into the discovery search or any other databases or resources to authenticate myself as a patron, a current patron of Emporia State University, a currently faculty member or staff member or student. But now that I'm logged in, let's go back to record number 3. I'm going to click on PDF full text. And I really love this. A lot of you may be using ebooks that you can check out virtually from your local public libraries. I check out a lot of ebooks as well for my own personal reading. The ebooks that we have through the library are a little bit different from what you might have at your public library because we have more academic restrictions. So this is a good example of one that I can read online. Over here under Publisher Permissions, this tells me what I can and cannot do. I could print or email or save a maximum of 100 pages from this ebook. I cannot do more than that because the publisher might think that I was trying to print the entire book for free, and they don't really want us to do that. We can do copy and paste, and we can download the book if I wanted to check this out virtually. Most of the time, I actually don't check out these books. What I usually do when I am looking at these is basically just scroll through and read the book online. And you see that I can do this either by scrolling, or I could go over here, Chapter 9 looks interesting, developing a user-centered culture that might deal with assessment of these types of services. And I can just go ahead and read this. Back up here, where this says ebook availability, unlimited copies available, that simply means that there is no limit to the number of individuals who could actually be reading this book as I am online simultaneously. Now, we are trying for a lot of the SLIM courses to look for textbooks for your different courses that are set up this same way, that we could buy through the library as ebooks that would have unlimited availability and make those available to you as an option so you wouldn't necessarily have to buy the textbook. We are not able to do this for every single textbook in the SLIM courses because different publishers have different restrictions, but we certainly are looking for those as possibilities. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with that because I did want to show you how you can make the discovery search work for you if you're looking for items such as print books or ebooks. So what we're going to do now, though, is broaden our search a little bit more. I'm going to go back to this tab, but I'm going to take this back to the library's webpage. And I want to spend some time now focusing upon the types of very subject-specific databases that you will be using in library and information science as you start working on papers and different projects, both individually and in groups. We're going to go to the Databases tab now. And we have over 176 databases available with a wide range of subjects, a wide range of availability with the full text of articles, PDFs, and so forth. That can get a little bit overwhelming if you're not quite sure where to start. So I would recommend on the Databases tab to click on All Subjects and go to Library and Information Science. Now, we have more than 13 databases that relate to this field, but these are the more specific ones that will help you as you are doing your research. And there's my information again as the liaison. We have some suggestions here for best bets. I'm going to tell you very quickly about some of these, but then we're going to focus on one database in particular. If any of you are interested in children's literature, becoming a children's librarian, this one might come in handy later on. The Children's Literature Comprehensive Database, it actually is a database of book reviews and related information about children's literature. So if you had to do a lesson plan or a book talk or something like that, that could help you find book reviews about children's and young adult books and kind of help you identify what would be in those areas. Choice Reviews Online, you will probably be using this when you get to the point that you're taking your collection development courses. These are actually also reviews of books and also both print and online books, more academic in nature. And that can help you in terms of a collection development project if you're trying to find best choices in the field for books on a particular area. Encyclopedia of Library and Information Sciences, you will be using this for other SLIM classes. This is actually considered to be a database, and this is an interesting one. With this one, you will probably be asked in different SLIM classes to identify and find the PDF of different articles from this encyclopedia. The way you would do that would be to go to where we did, the databases list, go to Library and Information Science, and then you can go to the Encyclopedia of Library and Information Sciences and search for the article that way. We get a lot of questions about how to search in this encyclopedia, and you want to think about it as a database to find articles. So you'll be doing that from different SLIM classes. Now, the one I'm really going to focus on right now is called Library and Information Science Source. We have two others here as well, actually three others if I include Lista, and they all do different things. I like Library and Information Science Source because it tends to be the most comprehensive when you are finding magazine articles, newsletters, journal articles about a huge range of topics in all fields of library and information science. So it doesn't cover just public or just academic or just school libraries. We're going to go to Library and Information Science Source, and I want you to notice something here. So The first thing I wanted you to notice is that I was not prompted to log in with my ID and my password. The reason was that I had already logged in on this tab when I was searching for ebooks and I wanted access to that ebook. If I'm not already logged in, when I clicked on that title for Library and Information Science Source, I would have been prompted again to enter my ID and my password. Now here's the thing, if you've done that once in a browsing session, you can navigate back and forth between different databases and you will not be prompted to log in again until you actually exit that browsing session completely and you started all over again in Google Chrome or another browser. So didn't have to do it again. So I'm going to give you all some tips for searching, particularly at the graduate level. My first tip is when you're in a database, always go to an advanced search when you have that prompt. The reason is that the advanced search is going to let you do a lot of limiting of your search that you can't do when you're just in a basic search. So you can really narrow and focus your search parameters a lot more effectively and get to exactly where you need to be. So here, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And here are some different limits that I can do. One thing that you will probably be asked to do is to limit your searches just to scholarly, peer-reviewed journals or journal articles. And that means that you're getting things that are more reviewed in the field, much more scholarly than like a newsletter or a magazine article. So I will often go ahead and do that. I could limit my search to the full text of articles, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to show you why after we do our search. And I can limit my search even more if I wanted just academic journals or book or other publication type. But my main limit up here is going to be under select a field. And I am a huge believer in doing this. So we're going to do a rather broad keyword search. I think I'm going to stick with library assessment again and then find another word to combine with that. But I want my words in this search to only be in the abstracts of the items, only the abstracts of the summaries. The reason I want to do that is that there's a lot of full text of articles that's included in Library and Information Science Source. And if I do not limit my search just to the abstract, that keyword search is going to go out and it's going to search everywhere in the full text of an article. So if you've ever gotten results from searches either on Google or other databases that have not been very precise, the chances are pretty good that they're searching everywhere in the full text. So that's my second tip. First tip is advanced search. Second tip is narrow your keyword search by abstract. So let's go with library assessment again. And in this case, I'm going to put in the word instruction. I'm going to stop here. This is one of my favorite parts about searching in a database, and you probably have seen this in Google. Often when we start typing in Google for a search, it'll give us suggestions, basically suggested searches. Many databases will do the same thing, and this is a very good example. I could search library assessment and instructional strategies, instructional design, instructional technology, instructional practices. So this is kind of helping me brainstorm some different ideas that maybe I didn't think of the first time around. I love being able to do that. I'm going to leave this just with instruction, and I'm going to go ahead and search because I know this is going to be a very big search. That's not bad. I have 84. And if I wanted to narrow that even more, I could add another word here. And I might focus my search a little bit more. Maybe I'm only interested in freshman students, college students. Maybe I want elementary education or secondary education. That's where I could focus that by audience. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to show you what your results will look like. And all of these are going to be references to articles. Record number 1 is a really good example. I like that. I love that title. I really need to read this article. This is a good example of one that doesn't have the full text. Record number 2 does have the PDF full text. So I can click on record number 2. Oh, I don't know why it didn't like that one. Of course, it would find one that it didn't like. So let's go to another one. Meeting students were there. Oh, that sounds interesting. Let's see if it likes this one any better. There we go. It liked this one a lot better. So I can read this article online, and I do want to show you over here. I'm going to move this. I'm actually moving the screen on my end because I wanted to show you all something here, and I want to be able to see it. There we are. So this is something I think is really nice to be able to do. This is a database through a vendor called EBSCOhost, and we have a lot of databases available through EBSCOhost. And EBSCOhost offers a lot of different options with their databases. One really nice option is this nice little link over here. If you use Google Drive pretty extensively, and you can get to Google Drive at your g.emporia.edu account, you can go ahead and save that article directly to your Google Drive. And then you have access to it, and you can share it with other people in a group. So that's really nice to be able to do. You can also email it, and you can print it, you can download it, you can do a lot of different things with that. Let's go back to the result list. And I actually wanted to go back to record number 1, because again, I really do like this one. I like the title of that. Now, I mentioned we do not have the full text immediately available for this one. I'm not going to give up yet, though. And the reason I'm not is that I'm going to go back to this tab here and give you another tip for searching. And my next tip for searching is always keep an extra tab open to the library's webpage or the library's homepage, because that's going to come in really handy for what we need to do for our next one. Let me see what I did. I think I might have done something I shouldn't have done here. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. This is where I needed to be. Okay, so I want to keep this open with the library's homepage. And I'm going to go back over here. There's a really good chance that I might be able to find this article in another database or another resource. And one way of doing that is to copy the title of the journal. Right now, I'm not copying the title of the article, and the reason for that is I want to go back to the library's homepage, and now we're going to go to the third tab I mentioned, and the third tab is our Journals tab. And the Journals tab is actually powered by a software called Browsine. And if you want to know more about Browsine, drop me a note, and I'd be really happy to talk with you about that in more detail. You can create an account in Browsine, and you can actually save articles, or you can save journals to read later on. It's just really a nice little feature. But what I'm going to do right now is paste the title of that journal, Evidence-Based Library and Information Practice. So this little blue icon is a good indication that we actually have access to this in another way. And I'm going to go back over here because I'm looking for volume 14, issue number 2. And it's right there, volume 14, issue number 2. And so all I have to do here, there it is. Okay, so if I click on this link to article, and everything goes the way that it should, there it is. There's the article, and I can actually download that in PDF. This is actually a good example of an open access journal. So that was actually why I was mentioning earlier, this is why I don't limit my search to full text, because if I had just limited my search to the full text of articles available specifically in this database, I would totally have missed this one. Now, what will happen is that sometimes, I'm just going to use this the next one, record number 4, as an example. Sometimes when I do that in the Journals tab, though, it will show that we don't have access to that journal at all in print or in online form. Or we might have access to it, but we don't actually have the year that you need. This is when you're going to do this next step, and this will work no matter where you happen to be. So this is for all cohort groups. If I can see that we don't have access to this article in any way through the library, now I will click on Interlibrary Loan. And I've done this before, so it saved my information. I would just put in my username and my password again, my Hornet ID information and my password, log on. And if you are new to Emporia State and you've not done Interlibrary Loan before, to get an article or a book, you would actually get a screen right before this one, and it would ask you to put in your personal information. It would ask you to put in your name, your address, your student email address, and so forth. But once you've done this, you don't have to do that again. And this is what I wanted you to see. I love this part. I get excited about small things because I like anything that makes searching for information a little bit easier. So you notice that this populated this form automatically with the article title, the title of the journal, the author, everything else. And I am not going to do this right now, but if I wanted to get this, I could click on Submit Request. We would then go out to another library, we would get the PDF of this article, and we would send it to you in your email. So turnaround time is usually about 24 to 48 hours. It depends on the time of the semester and how busy we are. So if you need to get something on Interlibrary Loan, I would definitely plan ahead. I'm actually going to go back here to this tab and show you something else while it's on my mind, because I was thinking about Interlibrary Loan. So I had mentioned earlier that if we own a print item like a book at the Emporia Campus Library, or if we had a print copy of an article that was available through our library, you have access to that as well. So let's say you wanted to borrow a print book from the Emporia Campus Library. You would go to Interlibrary Loan. We'll log in again. And in this particular instance, I would click on New Request for a Book. And you use this also for books that are not owned by the library, but you can also use this form for print books that are owned by our library to have mailed to you. So you just basically put in all the requested information. We would ask that down here under Notes, you would actually find the call number of that book on our catalog on the Discovery search. If you would, please add the call number and the location. It's going to tell you if it's on a deck or a floor of the library. And that's kind of a flag to us that you're a distance education student, but you're asking that that print book be checked out and mailed to you. So if you do that, we would be more than happy to get that information to you. So please use this one, the Interlibrary Loan Form, also for document delivery of books or articles that are owned physically by the library. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that while I was thinking of it. So I'm going to go back over to this tab. I'm keeping an eye on our time because I want to allow time for questions as well. So I want to show you here a nice little shortcut that you can do. If you were searching, and sometimes I have to take maybe about 15 to 20 minutes out of my day to do research because I'm busy teaching or doing other things, and I think we're all this way. So if you only had a few minutes to do your research in a database, such as this one, and most databases will offer this option, notice that what I was doing was clicking on these little folder icons that are over here. And the reason I was doing that is that I was actually adding these to a folder. So now I have items in this folder, but it also says go to folder view. And this is a nice little way of searching if you just don't have, if you have just basically enough time to pop in and find a few items and you don't have time to look at them now, but you want to look at them later on. So I have I have 6 items in here. I could save all these as a file on my computer and get to those later on. Of course, as you know, I could have saved those in Google Drive, but I can also just very quickly email those items. And if the PDF was available in those articles, it will also email the PDF to you, so you'll have that as well. Put in your email address here, and that'll work with any email address. It doesn't have to be just Emporia. And here's yet another little tip. Depending upon how well your spam filter works on your email, this email from EPOS might get caught in your spam filter and you think, well, it didn't go through. If you put something here on the subject line, just maybe put your topic or the word test or something like that, for some reason, often that will fool the spam filter and it will actually then go into your email. But if you don't get a chance to do that and you don't get this email from epnet.com, check your spam filter because it actually might be in there. The other thing you can do over here, though, is say that you would like these citations or references for the articles to be reformatted in your email in the APA format, American Psychological Association. Now here's the kicker on this. It may not be 100% correct because it depends upon how the data of the record has been entered in. So you may have some words that are capitalized that should not be capitalized. So you still may have to do some editing there. But it's almost easier to do that when you actually have those items there, and then that way you can make the necessary changes. Some of you may be familiar with APA style, and for others this may be brand new. This is what you're going to be using when you write your papers and do your other projects in SLIM. Questions up to this point from any of the groups on anything that I've covered so far? All right, I'm not seeing anything right now, and I know I'm going over a lot of information in a quick amount of time. Ah, I see a chat here. Okay. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you one more thing here. I'm going to go back to the library's webpage, and I'm actually going to put in a plug for something we have coming up that will also be new for the SLIM professors. So I'm kind of excited to be able to tell you about all of this. We're going to go back to databases. And the last thing I want to show you, and then see what questions you might have, is over a resource that actually is not a database, but it is a wonderful way of helping you with writing papers and doing references in APA style. And I clicked on databases. And this resource that I'm going to show you next is called Academic Writer. So it's just right here under the letter A, but it's also under the Library and Information Science source page. So I went to Databases and Academic Writer. And I love this one. So like I said, a lot of you may be new to using APA style, the American Psychological Association. I was actually a SLIM student 30 years ago. And when I was in SLIM, we actually were able, we used whatever citation style was comfortable for us. So I tended to use MLA because I was familiar with that. Well, a lot of things have changed. And APA tends to be the style that is used in the social sciences and many of the other sciences as well, including library and information science. But it can be a little bit of a challenge to learn if you've never done this before. So Academic Writer is a resource that the library has, and it is a huge, huge help if you have any questions about how to write papers, how to do citations or references in APA style. So the first thing you want to do on Academic Writer, and you can definitely do this on your own or I could help you with this, is click on Welcome and log in. In order to access everything in Academic Writer, you do need to create a free account for yourself. And I've got mine saved here. So it will go ahead and log me in. So that is the first thing you do want to do. So after you do that, I just want to show you the three centers we have in Academic Writer: Learn, Reference, and Write. The Learn Center has a lot of really quick video tutorials. If you were not sure how to set up the paper in APA style, you could watch a quick guide or a quick tutorial. There's some longer ones as well. And over here under Samples, if you go to Sample References, let's say that you would like to, I'm just going to go over here. You're not quite sure how to do a reference in APA style, maybe for a dissertation that you found that was just on the web. When I click on that, there are tons of sample references in Academic Writer that will help you see, okay, there's a template, and then this is the way that I would set this up in APA style. So that is kind of just scratching the surface of the Learn Center. The Reference Center will actually let you build references, and you can copy and paste or save references from different databases. I don't know if any of you have ever used any bibliographic software programs such as Zotero or Mendeley. This is similar to this. The only caveat is this is only in APA style. So I can save references in my library to use in the third center, which is probably one of my favorites, the Write Center. So the Write Center will let you actually write a paper in APA style within Academic Writer in your account. And this is actually one of my favorite parts. If you would ever have to do a literature review paper or a case study or something in terms of methodology, there are templates that will help you set that up. Most often, you might just have to build a basic paper. And I'm going to use this as a student assignment. And this is actually going to build the paper for me so I can concentrate a lot more upon the content than trying to format the paper. So I might put Library Assessment and the Future of Academic Libraries. I'm just making up a title here. So that would be the title of my paper. And I could go ahead and start writing. And I mentioned that, no, I don't really want help right now. I'm good here, but you can get help if you want. And what I love about this is I mentioned the references that you can put in the Reference Center. This is where you can actually get access to the references that you would have in the reference list. But I could just start typing here. This is the body of the paper. If I wanted to add a new section with a different heading, so one heading might be Literature Review. You see what it did? It just formatted that automatically. And it will format everything automatically, double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12 points, so I don't have to change anything. And that looks very similar, as you can see, to Microsoft Word or another word processing program. So I could just type my paper. Everything's going to be saved in here, so I don't have to worry about it being saved anywhere else. It saved it automatically, which is wonderful. When I'm finally done with my paper, I can go to File and Export. And I can download a copy of this paper either as a Microsoft Word document or a PDF document to submit. And the reason I said I was just scratching the surface of Academic Writer is that the SLIM professors and then you all as students will be getting some information from the library in the next couple of weeks. We have a trainer who will be coming to the library from the American Psychological Association, and she will be here on September 24th and 25th. She's going to be doing some in-depth training sessions on how to use Academic Writer for faculty and for students. We are actually going to make those sessions available to participate in through Zoom as well. So please stay tuned to your email because we'll have more information about the actual times of the sessions for faculty and for students. We will also be recording the sessions and making those available as YouTube links so that you'll be able to access those later on. So if you're interested in learning more about Academic Writer, you can always contact me. But then we will have these training sessions coming up on September 24th and 25th. So at this point, I know I've given you all a lot of information. What questions are out there from any of the three groups right now that I could go back over?
Let me see if you can you hear us here in Emporia, Cynthia?
I surely can.
Yeah, I think we got a question. We'll see if you can hear the student. If not, I can relay it. So
that sounds great.
If we're going to get something on interlibrary loan, can we have it sent to our local library on the courier?
Oh, okay. So the question was from the Kansas group, from the Emporia group. If we order something on interlibrary loan, can it be sent to your local library through the courier? I know that we do that in many instances. I tell you what I would probably recommend. Actually, I'm going to go back over here. That's a great question for some of the Kansas libraries. What I would recommend is before you would do that type of request, are you all seeing our faculty and staff directory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would recommend that you contact Candy Johnson, who is our supervisor for interlibrary loan, and you could just you could call her at, it would be 620-341-5050, and I would tell her where you are, where your local library is, and check to see whether that would be on our courier system, because that I would not be sure of. But I would do that in advance, and if they can do that, then we'd be happy to do that.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Great. That's a good question.
I don't think we had any other questions here in Emporia, Cynthia, but thank you so much for helping lead the workshop this morning, and
Absolutely.
we're looking forward to see you after lunch, right?
Look, that's exactly it. I will be there for the Emporia group about 1:30 down in the Learning Commons.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And for everybody else, again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm going to go back over here one more time. Your research guides, library and information management. I'm pulling up that LibGuide one more time. libguides.emporia.edu/slim. Email me at ckane1.emporia.edu or call me at 620-341-5480. And like I said, I will make this recording available so that all of you professors for the sections will have that available for your campus courses.
And Cynthia, we just want to say we've been enjoying the overview, and the students are saying they want to have a chance to get some hands-on experience, and then they'll probably have questions. So we really appreciate the
Absolutely.
overview, and they're excited to explore more.
Absolutely. And that really is the way to learn. After you start doing your hands-on searching, that's when you think, okay, is this working or is this not working? So please contact me for any follow-up questions.
Oh, there is one question.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Is there an advantage to ordering something via ILL through the university as to ordering it I work in a library, so is there an advantage to ordering it through the university, or would I just order it through the library that I work at?
The
Yeah.
question is, if you're already working at a library or just have access to your local library, is there an advantage to doing interlibrary loan through the Emporia campus library? I would say do whatever is most convenient for you. The main thing we want to emphasize is that we have equitable access to all of our library resources and services. So we do not want anyone who's not physically in Emporia to feel like, I can't do interlibrary loan and I can't do any other services or resources here. If it's more convenient for you, if you're already working in a library, by all means, go ahead and use your own ILL system. But please know that you can use ours as well, and we will get stuff to you.
And I would just say that ours is free and not everyone is. And I think that oftentimes with the university, the ILL time is longer than at a public library, like that you can keep it longer. So that could be another benefit.
It can, yeah. Our service, of course, is also totally free. And I would say the delay time might be in the number of requests that we're processing from different students, with over 5,000 students at Emporia State. But yeah, I think just whatever works out best for you. But yes, absolutely, you can use our service as well. That's a good question.
Thank you again, Cynthia. We really appreciate it. This has been
Absolutely,
great.
absolutely. Everybody have a good rest of your class. I'm so happy I got a chance to see you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, we are ready to break for lunch.